Today I want to talk about investing in yourself and in your skills with your extra money that you have every single specified time frame. Now, before I start this, I want to say I'm going to get a mic very soon to these little talks. But what do I mean by this? So, I was watching this video the other day. It was Alex Hormozi. If you guys are watching this, good chance you know who he is. And it was like, if I had under $10,000 in my bank account, this is what I would do. Now, among some of the stuff he said, and I'm gonna kind of go through each one and how they relate and how I give it and how I can give you guys examples of how this has worked for me. But basically, the whole idea of this, with the ideas that I'm going to share with you guys, are investing in yourself and realizing that you are your best asset to invest in. So every single month for me, I'm not going to give a figure number, but I have a decent amount of money left over per month that really has no assigned value to it. That's another thing. I won't go on off topic, but every single dollar you make should have an assigned value that will help you budget, that will help you with everything. But anyways, so I have a decent chunk, and within that chunk, every single month, I don't save it for say. I have a chunk saved that is saved, and this is what Alex Hormozi will talk about in the video, but past what I already have saved, all I do is invest into myself. Now, the things I choose to invest in, right, might be, might be interesting to some people, but at the end of the day, I'm investing in myself because you are your best asset. This is the main idea behind this. You are your best asset. Your skills, the stuff you learn, your network, everything within yourself. And this doesn't have to be limited to, one area, right? Health, wealth, love, and happiness. This could be everywhere, right? You can invest in yourself. I know for me, my health is gym and healthy food, right? Those are investments into my health. Wealth, all of my skills I'm learning, right? Closing, sales, psychology, all this stuff. It's going to pay dividends in the future. Because once I understand it now, I'm just going to get better and better and better at it, and it's going to help me at the end of the day sell more, right? Those are high income skills. Health, wealth, love, right? I don't know. You could get a premium subscription for a dating website. I don't know. You could, okay, for me, let's say, I could go to the city and get a membership to a high-class place to meet high-class people, right? That's a prime example of it. And happiness, right? Whatever makes you happy. There's a little bit that you have to spend on yourself in the moment, because at the end of the day, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. But it's all investments within that. Now, I'm going to preface what Alex Hormozi said, and also another thinker, one of my mentors, that talked about this exact thing. So Alex Hormozi said, the first rule he said is that when you're young, be as frugal as you can. Now, there's a difference between being cheap and frugal, but be as frugal as you can. One neat example is that if you invest $250 per month, and let's say it compounds at an annual percent of 9%, which is the S&P 500, average return. With that compounding value over 40 years, guess how much money that would be? It's over $1.1 million. So from now on, when you think of money, and this is what Hormozi said, again, not me, if you guys are hearing, good ideas, this isn't Liam's ideas, this is ideas of great thinkers and, modern great influencers. Well, influencers has a bad connotation. It's truly great thinkers. Alex Hormozi is a great thinker. Well, I'm just relaying their ideas. But anyways, be as frugal as you can and invest all of that money. Now, when I say invest, and I don't want you to get this mixed up, when I say you invest, all your discretionary income, I'm not saying into the stock market. I'm not saying into Bitcoin. I'm not saying into Beyond Meat. I'm recording this October 23rd. I invested $50 into Beyond Meat at like $2.50. Went up to $8 at one point. Low key could have just cashed out for like, $30. Realistically though, I wasn't gonna put like a lot of money in, but then it just crashed again. It it was a meme rally on Reddit. No, it wasn't. But anyways, way off topic. But I'm not saying invest in the stocks. I'm not saying invest into gold, into Bitcoin, into silver. What I'm saying to invest in, and this is the whole preface behind this, invest into yourself, right? Invest into your skills, because if you invest, let's say $50 into a book, and that book held some limiting beliefs that you've had for a long time about, let's say, closing a client, right? I know for me, a big thing was you can't persuade someone if they don't accept it themselves, right? You can talk, better than Plato, you can talk better than Socrates, but at the end of the day, if these people don't accept it for themselves, they are not in a million years going to accept what you say. And so that's a big thing for me, right? If I had to give an example for myself, it's a big thing for me. Now, have I closed a lot of deals since then? No, but I have closed deals, and it was after I learned that, right? So yeah, right? That's just one way. So, and you can get, creative when investing into yourself, right? What I invest in, how I invest in, and how you invest in is going to be very different, right? Let's say you have someone in person who is extremely wise, right? Who is at the place where you want to be in life. Let's say to them, you're like, yo, like, can I hang out with you, certain days? Can you just mentor me? Maybe they say, yeah, I can, but my time's really limited. If you, let's just say an investment, just for sake of things, say like, if my time's very valuable, but I would love to just have a session just solely with you, ask any questions like that, but that will be, let's say, $500 for just simplistic terms. That's how it works. There's an investment right there. Books, huge investment, right? Now, for me, even, I invest a lot of money into books. I've probably spent $1,000 over the past 2 months. And I would be spending $1,000+ a month on books, but realistically, my bottleneck is that I can't read, 10 books a day. If I could read 10 books a day, oh man, would my life change for the better? But I can't, right? So that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, the main idea behind all of this, you find your ways where you can invest that suits your situation best and into yourself, into your skills. I know for me, as of right now, right, I work 60-hour work weeks, and I really, in let's say a work day of 16 times 7, that's 70 plus 48, right? Let's say 118 hours, like working hours a week I can have. Half of them are going to, my job. And then furthermore, right, those other, let's say, I get 3 hours or 3 days, 3 times 16 is 48. Those other, let's say 20 hours that I have, those are lost in the commute, right? This is a 40 minute commute for me. Then I have to shower, I have to eat, I have to shower, eat, get up in the morning, right? So really, it's more like I have maybe 2 hours a day on my work days, and then full 16 on my other ones. But this besides, it goes hand in hand with the point I'm making. I'm very limited for time, so maybe my best investment would be a mentorship, right? Like, I'm making all this money. If I don't have the time to do that trial and error, if I don't have the time to continuously fail, right? Like I said before, failure, we don't have any word in English that's like positive failure, because failures aren't inherently bad. It's how you view them, right? But if I don't have that time, maybe I'm going to spend that money to get someone else's expertise right by my side, right? Like, you think the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Maybe I'll just have that angel on my side, right? Whenever I have any questions, ask him, and then just work solely based on what he says, or she, for that matter. But right, it's all different. Books are one of the easiest ways to do it. And yeah, like, even furthermore, me, if I was in the city, I live close city to me is Edmonton. There was I went to a badminton tournament once in Edmonton with a team town over, right? They invited me to play on their team, and the club I went to was like, I don't know what you call it in the United States, but basically it's like a country club, right? Like a rich people club. Now that's a crude, simplistic way of putting it, but let's just say, it's a rich people club. This place was amazing, right? Like, not just the facility itself was amazing, but furthermore, the people and the group of people that are there, right? The families, everything there, they're my kind of people. And, I'm not saying this in a cocky sense, but truly, I want to be surrounded by high achievers. I want to be surrounded by people who, are successful in some aspect of your life. Hyper successful. And I say hyper successful from an average standpoint, but you guys kind of get the point, right? I would love to do that. Now, one of the things, just for the membership to get in there is $20,000 now. $20,000 is a lot of money. But honestly, for me, myself, and I was having this conversation with my friend the other day, and he said it was, it's so stupid how I could think like that. But realistically, right? If that's, let's say, 1.5K a month, which, is very steep, but let's say 1.5K a month, think of the connections I would make there. I would have a beautiful facility for all of my health needs, right? There was beautiful tennis courts there, badminton courts, love badminton, swimming pool, amazing gym, right? Golf course, all of that. So not only am I getting, let's say, happiness and potentially love, right? It doesn't even have to be romantic love. If I make friends, right? I make friends. It hits all four of those pillars, and really, like, even wealth, right? The connections I make. There's probably kids there, and I say kids, I'm 19 years old. I don't know if you'd say that's a kid, but there's probably people there who realistically are in the same boat as I am, who have the same ambition and drive, who have the same capacity for knowledge and learning the same stuff as me, right? And so all four of those pillars are hit, right? Those four pillars to a happy life. I don't even want to make a video on this because I feel like, I can't even coin it. Tai Lopez, he's, I think, like the forerunner for this. Well, I hear from Tai Lopez. I don't know if it was a great thinker from before. But realistically, right, it hits all those four pillars for a happy life. And at $1,500 a month, right, think of that. Would you yourself pay, $1,500 a month if you knew you could have the body of your dreams, if you knew that you would meet the best people you could meet, if you knew that you would have happiness doing the things you like, great for me in sports, and, be gaining those connections for potential finance? I know I would, right? Like, I would probably cut down on things I'm already paying for just to have that. Now, to each their own, and, that's the point I'm prefacing. I wasn't going to preface this point, but as I'm talking, I'm realizing this is becoming more apparent. But you yourself find what those investments are, right? Find the best vehicles that you can invest in, but preface yourself, right? And I'm not saying, 100% invest in yourself. My mentor, I believe he said, what was it? Like 60% into yourself, 20% into like your savings, emergency fund, and then 10% in the now. Now, those could be way off. For me, I enjoy what I do, so I love 100% into myself. Like, I truly enjoy that. That's where I get my happiness. And I already have that nest egg. Now, going back to what Alex Hormozi said, right? He said, just invest in yourself, right? Your capacity to learn and make more money is way higher than a 9% return, right, on the stock market per year. Going back to the example, $50 book that could easily make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? The ROI is, right? It says it for itself what the ROI is. But going back to what Tai Lopez said, and this will be for you guys too. One thing I really want is Meta glasses. Now, why do I want them? I don't know. I think they would be really cool to have now. Those are like $600. So realistically, right? That's way more than 10% of my budget that I could spend per month. But, it's all that balancing act, right? It's all finding what you are. But the main thing of this is to not sacrifice those investments that you are putting towards yourself. For me, I truly do think I'm going to spend quite a bit of money on mentorships, but it has to be high quality, right? Because I'm limited with that time and everything I do within that. But it's all, finding what works. And again, I'm on the journey myself. I can't give you guys good advice. Again, if you guys are new to my channel, if you're watching until this long, I probably repeated myself 10 times, got really bored. But anyways, I'm on the journey, right? I'm just documenting my daily life to, financial freedom online, making money online, becoming the best version possible of myself. Concepts, ideas, stuff I learned that I can share to other people. That's just what I'm sharing every single day. And I hope that you guys learn and, gain some wisdom from the wisdom that I learned, either from third-party sources or from my own experience. And so that's that. But yeah, it'll all be for you guys, right? I don't know what the correct balance is. Truly, there is no correct balance per each person. But you yourself find that. Never lose sight of investing in yourself. Save some money to a reasonable point, right? I know for me, the amount of bills I have is in accordance to my emergency fund, right? My 3 to 6 months, right? 6 months of bills. Let's say my car breaks down, need a new car. I have that money, so that's nice. But that's all I have to say for today. If you guys are watching until the end, thank you for watching. Again, documenting my life. If you guys want to follow my journey, you can subscribe, follow wherever you're watching this on. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys learned something from this. And above all, stay wise.